Chapter 21. The king's heart is in the hand of the Lord. As the rivers of water, he turneth it whithersoever he will. Every way of a man is right in his own eyes, but the Lord pondereth the hearts. To do justice and judgment is more acceptable to the Lord than sacrifice. An high look and a proud heart, and the plowing of the wicked is sin. The thoughts of the diligent tend only to plenteousness, but of every one that is hasty only to want. The getting of treasures by a lying tongue is a vanity tossed to and fro of them that seek death. The robbery of the wicked shall destroy them, because they refuse to do judgment. The way of man is froward and strange, but as for the pure, his work is right. It is better to dwell in a corner of the housetop than with a brawling woman in a wide house. The soul of the wicked desireth evil, his neighbor findeth no favor in his eyes. When the scorner is punished, the simple is made wise, and when the wise is instructed, he receiveth knowledge. The righteous man wisely considereth the house of the wicked, but God overthroweth the wicked for their wickedness. Whoso stoppeth his ears at the cry of the poor, he also shall cry himself, but shall not be heard. A gift in secret pacifieth anger, and a reward in the bosom strong wrath. It is joy to the just to do judgment, but destruction shall be to the workers of iniquity. The man that wandereth out of the way of understanding shall remain in the congregation of the dead. He that loveth pleasure shall be a poor man. He that loveth wine and oil shall not be rich. The wicked shall be a ransom for the righteous, and the transgressor for the upright. It is better to dwell in the wilderness than with a contentious and an angry woman. There is treasure to be desired, and oil in the dwelling of the wise, but a foolish man spendeth it up. He that followeth after righteousness and mercy findeth life, righteousness and honor. A wise man scaleth the city of the mighty, and casteth down the strength of the confidence thereof. Whoso keepeth his mouth and his tongue keepeth his soul from troubles. Proud and haughty scorner is his name, who dealeth in proud wrath. The desire of the slothful killeth him, for his hands refuse to labor. He coveteth greedily all the day long, but the righteous giveth and spareth not. The sacrifice of the wicked is abomination, how much more when he bringeth it with a wicked mind? A false witness shall perish, but the man that heareth speaketh constantly. A wicked man hardeneth his face, but as for the upright, he directeth his way. There is no wisdom nor understanding nor counsel against the Lord. The horse is prepared against the day of battle, but safety is of the Lord. We are about 2/3 of the way through Proverbs, and you will note that you've probably read some of these in very similar words in previous chapters. For instance, verse 2 here, every way of a man is right in his own eyes, but the Lord pondereth the hearts. And we had that 2 or 3 chapters ago, almost identical statement, slightly different. And these things are here as multiples to be repeated so that you hear the same thing, so that the people who are reading this for learning wisdom hear the same thing said multiple times in different ways, because we know that if we simply said it the same way, if they didn't get it the first time, they might not get it the second time. If we rephrase it slightly differently, it may just strike a chord in their heart and their mind, and they might remember it. Here's an interesting one in verse 3. To do justice and judgment. In other words, to be fair and honest and render to people those things which are theirs by right is more acceptable to the Lord than to be dishonest and offer sacrifices. You got to remember that, just offering sacrifices does not make you an honorable man. It means you gave up the sheep, the goat, or whatever it was. But it didn't make you just, it didn't make you fair, it didn't make you honest. you could still be dishonest and morally corrupt and offer sacrifices, and many people did. But the Lord wanted justice and judgment, honest judgment, fairness from people. That was what it was. And that's part of what people were supposed to learn from offering sacrifices. But a lot of times they didn't learn anything. They just offered the sacrifice. That was it. The thoughts of the diligent, verse 5, tend only to plenteousness, but of everyone that is hasty, only to want. So if you're diligent, a diligent person is somebody who's conscientious about doing the job that is in front of them, whatever it happens to be. Their thoughts are the things, basically, they understand that they're going to be rewarded for their diligence, for their work, for the hard work that they do. But everyone that is hasty, everyone that is not thinking about being diligent, everybody who is careless, everybody who's rushing to and fro, everybody who's too busy to work, is only going to be thinking about what they need to get from somebody else. The way of a man is froward and strange, but as for the pure, his work is right. Now the way of dishonest man, or the way of men who are not godly, is conceited, is deceitful. Okay, that's what the froward means, and strange. But as for the pure in heart, his work is right before God. He will be blessed. Verse 9, it is better to dwell in the corner of the housetop than with a brawling woman in a wide house. Very true. Or with any kind of contention, if it's there. You may have a big house, but that doesn't mean that you can get away from the brawling or the contention or the problems. Somehow they always find you. The soul of the wicked, verse 10, desireth evil, his neighbor findeth no favor in his eyes. It's amazing how when you have somebody who's wicked, everybody else is more wicked than they are. As far as they're concerned, everybody is more wicked than they are. Interesting. Verse 12, the righteous man wisely considereth the house of the wicked. That means he thinks about things. He understands that the house of the wicked is not a place that he wants to go. It's not like he's looking at buying it or anything else. He wisely considers that is not something he wants to have anything to do with. But God overthrowed the wicked for their wickedness. Verse 13, whoso stoppeth his ears at the cry of the poor. In other words, if you won't listen to the poor. This is Hebrew fundamental belief. They're very core in the belief. If you have lots, you are to share. Whoso stoppeth his ears at the cry of the poor, won't listen to the poor as who are calling out to you for some sort of relief from their want and their hunger, he shall cry himself, but shall not be heard. And I've seen that happen lots and lots and lots of times. He that loveth pleasure shall be a poor man. He that loveth wine and oil shall not be rich. So we've seen that lots of times. People that spend their money on pleasure, on love, while wine and oil, basically, they're talking about is the things of the world. That's just all that means. It is better to dwell in the wilderness than with a contentious and an angry woman. So this is twice in this particular chapter we've had that. A contentious and an angry person is never fun to live with.